Hi everyone, this is Steve Flanders from sflanders.net, and in this video demonstration I would like to show off the LoginSight 2.0 Windows Agent configuration and all the available options. What I have for you currently is a Windows 8 system with the LoginSight Windows Agent installed, and I've gone ahead and opened the liagent.ini configuration file. You'll see that the configuration file is made up of a variety of different section headers in square brackets, and underneath each section header are key value pairs or options for that particular section. Now the server section is actually set during the installation of the Windows Agent, so I'll go ahead and skip that. The storage and the logging section headers shouldn't really be touched except for troubleshooting purposes, so again I'll skip that. Only one key thing to note in these three sections, you'll notice something with a semicolon. It starts with a semicolon. Those are comments, so you can add comments to this configuration file as necessary. What I'd like to do is go ahead and jump right into window collection. So you'll see that by default the liagent file will collect the application, security, and system window event viewer log channels. And those are specified by creating a section header that starts with winlog, followed by the pipe character, and then some name. Doesn't matter what name you use, but it's usually a good idea to match the name with the channel just to make it easier. And then underneath the winlog section, you must at a minimum specify the channel which you want to collect logs from. Now, one key thing to note about those channels, if I go ahead and look at my event viewer, you'll see application, security, and system. There's also a variety of other ones like underneath application and service logs. So let me actually drill down to one. How about the Windows firewall log? Now the question becomes, what is the name of this channel? And you may think that the name is firewall, but to confirm that, what you should do is right click it and go to properties and select the full file name. So it's actually much longer than firewall. And I would need to enter this entire full name into the channels equal option for the particular section header if I wanted to collect this particular channel's events. So just something important to note. Now you'll see that I do not actually have the security channel in this configuration file, at least not here. That's because I've modified the configuration file. And what I've done is I've created a couple different sections. So let's start with this security-error. I still have my channel equals security option, but I also have a whitelist option. And the whitelist option allows me to specify certain subsets of a channel that I wish to collect. So in this case, I'm looking at the level that's set in the actual channel itself, and I'm only collecting events that contain critical or error level messages. So basically this allows me to change the verbosity of the logs that I send to my LoginSight server. The Windows system still continues to log all security events, but only the critical and error ones will be picked up by the agent and sent to my LoginSight server. Very helpful. I also have another example here using the security section, and this one's called security-verbose. Now it's also collecting the security channel. Instead of a whitelist, though, it's using a blacklist. So it says, okay, I want to collect everything from the security channel except for specific things. So in this case, I'm looking at the event ID in the security channel, and I'm excluding certain event IDs. So basically, all the different options available within an event channel, level, event ID, etc., can be used as part of a whitelist or a blacklist, and you can group them together. Like you can see there's an OR statement here, so it's excluding two different types of event IDs. A couple other things you'll notice in this security verbose section is that I have an enabled equals no option. By default, every section header defaults to enabled equals yes. So this is a great way for a troubleshooting perspective, or if you want to temporarily disable some logs, you can do that without actually removing the rest of the configuration options. The final thing you'll notice in this security equals verbose section is a tags option. Tags are a way of basically defining fields that will show up in the LoginSight server. So from the Interactive Analytics page, you have fields that you can use as part of your message query, as part of your aggregation query. You can define them here so that they're known when they are received in the LoginSight server side. In this particular example, I have a field that's called compliance with a value of PCI, and that would be available to me on the interactive analytics page of the LogInsight server. Now the tag section is JSON based, so a key value with a semicolon, and I can define more than one. I'll demonstrate that in just 1 second. In addition to the WinLog section, you can also have file log sections. So you can monitor any file on the file system within your Windows device. So here I have an example of Apache Access logs. I have to specify the directory where those log files exist, and that directory should be an absolute path. And the path does not support globbing, so I cannot use a star or a question mark. So for example, if I had both Apache 2.0 and Apache 2.2 installed on this instance, each with its own log directory, I couldn't use a star instead of Apache 2.2. I'd have to actually create 2 separate file log sections and make sure I'm collecting logs from both of them. Once I have the directory specified, I have the ability to include and exclude certain events. So the include and exclude options do support globbing, both star and question mark. So I can say go ahead and include everything that ends in .log, but exclude everything that ends in _old.log. Now you might want to do this for logs that rotate. Maybe they get some sort of prefix, a number or a date, and you don't want to recollect the logs because they just rolled over. Sure, it's a new file, but that file contains logs that you've already gathered. That's where exclude becomes very, very helpful. And again, you can see the tags example here where I am actually defining 2 separate fields with 2 different values. These will get passed into the LogInsight server for me. One final example for you here, I have Microsoft SQL. Again, I've specified the directory where my log files exist, but in this case, I have to actually define a character set. The LogInsight agent defaults to UTF-8 as the character set, but it turns out that Microsoft SQL's error log is in UTF-16LE, so I have to go ahead and define that. The LI agent supports UTF-8, UTF-16LE, and UTF-16BE as options. The final option that you see listed here for the MS SQL is the event marker, which in my opinion is probably the most important option. The event marker tells the agent when a new event is seen. So basically it allows you to properly handle multi-line messages. In this particular case, the event marker says look for events that do not start with space. So if it does not start with a space, then it is a new event. Basically, the event marker would be a regular expression. To show you another example here, I have the LogInsight agent log file, and you'll see that it actually starts with a timestamp. You have your date and time located here. Now, if I go ahead and create a multi-line message, maybe I do something like this, and I actually want all 3 lines to be treated as a single event, and then this 4th line to be the start of a new event, then I would actually want to set the event marker and say, hey, it's going to start with 4 digits, a hyphen, 2 digits, a hyphen, 2 digits, a space, etc. I can define the pattern as long as I want. I'd probably use the entire timestamp just to be safe at a minimum, maybe even more. And now, when the agent picks up these events, it would treat the first 3 lines as a single event, and they would show up as a single event on the LogInsight server, so you can actually define your queries properly and not have to deal with each line being treated as its own event on the LogInsight server side. So very, very powerful, very, very important. Once you've done making changes to the li-agent.ini file, you have to go ahead and save the file. One thing to note here, if it pops up like this with this Save As option, this is a very good indication that you do not have permissions to save or override the li-agent.ini file. To confirm this, you can change the text file to all files, to which you will then see the li-agent configuration file. You can hit Save. It'll ask if you want to override. Then it comes back and says, hey, access is denied. So make sure you set the permissions properly or you're logged in with the proper permissions. The li-agent.ini file is in C program data VMware LogInsight agent. Another key thing to note here is that that program data folder is hidden by default. So if you don't see it, make sure you go to View and enable the option to show hidden folders. So in this case, since I'm in a demo environment, what I will do is change the security and allow basically all users to edit this file, save that in, and now I should be able to save this file, and you'll notice that it did not pop up with the Save As option. That means it was able to save correctly. Even though it's saved, though, it has not been applied. You then must go to the Services section and restart the LogInsight agent. Once you restart it, then the new configuration will take effect and logs will be forwarded per the configuration file. Now, of course, this is only one way to set the agent configuration file. This is done on the client side. There is a way to handle this on the server side as well, and I will be covering that in a future video. And that concludes this video demonstration. Thank you so much for watching.